Okay, we're going to start off. We don't know that much about your show, so we would like you to tell us about your characters. How about that?
Okay, go.
I play Alan.
I play Vera Buckley.
We both play scientists that work for NASA. I'm his boss, so I get to tell him what to do.
That's true.
And when we shot the pilot, we got to shoot at the VLA, which was incredible. Like a childhood dream of mine growing up in Houston, Texas, and going to visit NASA down there all the time. We actually got to go out there and spend the whole day out there and actually feel like real scientists.
No, yeah, we shot a scene that was right under one of the what is it, 27, 28 satellites? I don't know what words are anymore. And then they actually, while we're shooting, they're like, guys, we need you to wrap up on this shot because we have to actually move the satellite. And we got to see him move it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys realize that satellite right now is talking to space.
Yeah.
And we're making a TV show. We're making a TV show. That satellite is talking to space.
It was one of the coolest days for sure on set. But yeah, I get to play Vera, who's a very avid scientist and in search of a lot of answers. And when this meteor hits, or whatever that it might be that we find out, she's going to figure out what it is, no matter what the cost is, even if it's going to Guantanamo, according to her. And as things unravel, we find out it's not at all what she thought it was, and a lot of her belief systems are questioned, and her ways of thinking are in her search to find answers.
Yeah, I play Alan. As she said earlier, I work for her and beside her. And as a radio astronomer, this anomaly that comes in is also strange to me. And what happens is when I'm in the van, I come out and see her on the ground. I check for her pulse, check to see if she's alive. To me, I think she's dead. I get the defibrillator, try to save her life. She wakes up. And then it leads me onto this, throughout the season, this questioning mission where I'm constantly going, what's going on? Like,
he's like a 5-year-old kid, basically.
Yeah. I show up and I'm like, hey,
where, when? Are we almost there?
And she goes, nothing, leave me alone, nothing, leave me alone. And I show up and I go, wait, what do you mean, nothing? Why? Who are these people? Nobody, leave me alone. And I go, oh, okay, all right.
So is your character a messenger? Does that mean your character has powers?
Yes.
She's a messenger. I am just a scientist. Just
a common human being. Well, I can't reveal. Some people powers are revealed in the pilot. There is a character who has strength. There's a character who has healing, and there's a person who can hear thoughts. And that's all that's been revealed thus far. My character's journey in figuring out what her gift is has a lot to do with the fact that she comes from a scientific background and is atheist. It's not something where you're going to be given a gift and she's going to believe it. It's going to be a struggle for her to discover it, A, and B, to accept it, and ever to use it. It's interesting, our show, because when they're given gifts, as much as I love superheroes, we're not a superhero. It comes with a cost. There is a downside to having the gift, and not just where, for instance, the person who can hear negative thoughts because they're negative, that might be hard on them. There's actual physical things that happen as well. And it's all about kind of choices and uniting this, like, in spite of differences, in order to save the world from an impending apocalypse. When you put ordinary human beings in a position where you have an impending apocalypse, it raises the stakes, but then when you're given this gift where you could possibly save humanity or be another manipulative side, there's a lot of gray area, and there's no right or wrong at the end of the day, which is interesting to me.
As the scientist, are you the focal point for all these other messengers who have all these other abilities? Can you kind of analyze and bring them together?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of has their own viewpoint. I think that coming from a scientific standpoint, the audience will be able to relate to Vera's character for a while a little bit better, because it all feels a little strange and not something anybody's ever really experienced in our human realm that we understand. So it's really easy to kind of understand the voice that Vera presents and the questions she presents, and both of us, the things, our thoughts going into it, and kind of how we feel a little bit like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This isn't anything that seems human-like. Coming at it from a scientific perspective, you want answers. You theorize, you prove it, and if you don't prove it, you come back with another theory and you test it. So,
did you have to go a lot into research and science in your radio?
Actually, when we shot the pilot, she had gone and done a lot of research. I was cast maybe a day or two before I had to go work, So we got together in Albuquerque and just went on a science. She went on a science rant, and I picked up things and we talked about things.
They had the 24-hour cameras from the space station happening when we were shooting the pilot, so I would stay up all night just watching. But I went out to the VLA. Up in Pasadena, and I spent like 2 days out there. Luckily, I've always loved science, you know. And anytime we went on field trips as kids in school, it was always to NASA when you're living in Houston. So luckily, I was raised around that, and it's kind of what drew me to Vera.
Yeah, but we did a lot of science research that didn't even have anything to do with it.
Yeah, but it's nice to inform yourself, you know.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we didn't ever use that information, but
yeah, actually, in the pilot, there's a specific line where she talks about a meteor versus meteorite and a solar flare and that came about because she said, no, this is not what a solar flare would have done. So this, that, and so because of that, you know, we sat and talked to Owen, the creator of the show, and we came to a conclusion, and there was a little dialogue change because of the research that we did.
Because there's a difference between an asteroid, a meteor, and a meteorite. So meteorite actually impacts the Earth. A meteor enters the Earth's atmosphere but doesn't impact, and an asteroid is outside of it. And there was at one point they said, you know, it has to be a meteor, and I'm like, I would never pick up a rock that I am holding from the Earth that actually impacted and say meteor. I would say meteorite. Yeah. And everybody had to kind of go look it up and figure out what it would be. But you know, I think that you have to pay respects to the job, you know, and the character that you play. And if she's really as intelligent as we're going to play her, then I need to be as intelligent as I can.
She's not very
No, not at all. Somebody just asked me what an adjective was, and I was like, that's like a descriptive word or something you do.